What's up, guys? We are here. We are back. And before we get started, Dustin, I know I'm gonna put out a clip later on, but I have to give a very, very special and just heartfelt shout out because I cannot go on a second without giving my heartfelt thanks to Judge Adolfo Tornicio. Adolfo is a brave name because it's very close to someone that we can't really talk about. But I have to give my heartfelt thanks for the shout out. You know, I just don't know if I can go on. Well, I could actually go on in peace now. The Judge Adolfo Tornicio from Greene County, Ohio, you know, felt the need to just give us a good shout out. So
Hell yeah. Yeah,
thank you so much, Judge. I just
Judge, be looking for a care package. I'm going to get you a couple shirts, some hats.
You made my heart happy. I'm so happy right now. Did you just fucking throw up?
Yeah, how can you tell? Hey, so you know how I'm the king of buying dumb shit I don't need, right?
Yeah. And yet you still try to call yourself Mr. fucking frugal.
I am frugal, dude.
Fuck you. You just admitted you weren't. I'm the king of buying dumb shit.
Okay, whatever. Guess what I bought for the kitchen?
For the kitchen?
Kitchen gadget.
A gadget or like something like that's a kitchen use thing?
Big kitchen use thing.
Okay, so what, like an ice cream machine?
Yeah, I bought a soft serve machine.
Yes. I had to think about something to be so stupid for you to use.
Yeah. Hey, no more going through McDonald's drive-thru and them not having
it never worked.
Ice cream comes in.
Yeah.
But on a more serious note, I know I posted on X and RIP to a legend, country music icon. Gosh, man, number one singer-songwriter in our lifetime, probably all history, Dave Allen Coe, and I've been seeing things all over, the internet saying, oh, well, he's racist piece of shit. He's this, that, the other. Well, obviously y'all assholes don't know him that well or know much about him.
Why? Because he's a white country singer?
Because of the X album. But,
whatever.
But, look, here's my thing. He was such a strong supporter of freedom of speech. And he talked about it, and I think in like a 0203 interview on, his language back then and why it's not racist and what he said and, why in movies they can say it and they're not labeled as racist, or why in, other cultures they can say it and it's not racist. And he was just, going on about it. But, RIP to him. And it's just funny because just 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, I don't know, 2 months ago, I don't know my time frame. I just did that post the other day, or that one day on X, about the best song he ever did was As I Lay Me Down to Cheat. And man, I just kept thinking about that recently, and I'm like, God, man. But man, I keep missing legends, going and see them in concert right before they fucking died. Charlie Robinson, he was playing here one night. I was on a date and I was like, hey, you want to go see Charlie Robinson? And she's like, I don't know who that is. Next day he died. I'm like, I could have seen him last night. Fuck you. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
anyways,
I try my best, but fuck, I mean, you and I both have the same issue. We're so fucking busy and I'm always on the goddamn road.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I was always proud to say that I got to see in their prime, not to say like they weren't always good in the end, but like when I say in their prime, meaning like that was like prime time Linkin Park. I got to see them after their first two albums. before they started to kind of change direction,
Yeah.
so, and like I said, that I never called them like they were shitty or anything. Obviously not. I mean, that was the music of a generation. It was some of the,
Yeah.
and one of the greatest, singers of all time, Chester Bennington, vocalist. It's just, it changed and it became music that I just didn't care for. That's all it
Yeah.
was, and
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. And I was very happy that I got to see Linkin Park before they died, and it was in their prime time. It was after the first
Oh
two
yeah.
albums. So,
Which
and
which
probably
at least
top three best concerts I've ever seen. So,
oh yeah. Well, David Allan Coe, he never changed, to the
mm-hmm.
day. Well, I guess he did. He redid If That Ain't Country, where he took out a word, but besides that, never change. And RIP to a legend. Like,
Yeah.
hell, he's gonna touch the outlaw generation for all eternity. But on another note, we got a special guest today, Constitutional Colonel Larry Kaifesh.
Correct, Kaifesh.
Okay, hey, what's going on, cuz? How's it going, man? You
Hey,
are yoked, like God, like, like,
um,
dang, bro. How much time you
um,
spend in the gym? Like 6 hours a day, seven.
no. I used to spend a fair amount. Now I try to just stay in shape. I play pickleball now more than anything. If you haven't played, I recommend give it a try. You'll have a great time.
I haven't. There's a couple places around here that they do pickleball, and I've never done it. I think we went to a restaurant one day, and they were playing it at the restaurant, and I, you know, it
Yeah.
is what it is.
I mean, I played pickleball once, and that's only because like it was when my wife was still active duty. They had an event at Chicken and a Pickle, and
Chicken and
I
pickle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
that's
and
what's over here.
I had no fucking idea what that place was, and I
Yeah.
get there and I'm like, this is awkward. It's a fucking fried chicken restaurant and then pickleball. I'm like, okay, but it
Yeah.
was the only time I've ever played pickleball. So
Yeah. Hey,
So, I know you put out a lot of articles on Substack and all that, and
correct.
everything from, a lot of writing about Trump and what's going on, and
Yeah.
then I know one question I do have. I know, so I don't know how you feel about it now, but I know at one point in time, you think Charlie Kirk, he wasn't assassinated, right?
I
well,
don't think he's dead. I don't see any proof that he's dead. We can talk about that if you'd like
Yeah,
to.
I'd love to.
whoa.
Absolutely.
Okay. Charlie. Interesting history. I knew Charlie personally, like so many others, but I went back to Illinois between combat tours, and I ran for Congress against Tammy Duckworth, if you remember
Hmm.
her. Okay. It was the same year, roughly, that Charlie Kirk was starting Turning Point USA.
Hmm.
2015.
Charlie and I are from two towns apart. I was living in Barrington at the time, and he was living in Wheeling. Um, so at multiple events, we would always be together. He was trying to get Turning Point up and running, and I was, of course, campaigning. So I had a chance to get to know him very early on. Fast forward, I saw a video of Charlie talking to a veteran. I think many of you have, and the veteran was saying, Charlie, 9/11 was an inside job.
Hmm.
And Charlie, obviously a brilliant guy, he kind of poo-pooed the idea and he kind of, I would just say, steered off the subject and kind of tried to make fun of the kid. The veteran was like, Charlie, no, the government was in on it. This is an inside job. And then he went and explained and gave us some details. And it was the first time I saw Charlie where he kind of really missed the boat. And I have his personal cell. I have it in my phone right now. I sent him a message and I said, "Hey Charlie, I love what you're doing. You're spot on almost every single issue, but you made a mistake with that veteran. That veteran was speaking the truth, and and you didn't give him the attention it needed, and you kind of poo-pooed a very important subject matter. So I just encouraged them, please reconsider your position on 9/11. Now let me make clear. After 9/11, I deployed to the Middle East 7 times in order to hopefully bring justice to that heinous crime.
Yeah.
Only to find out years later it was an inside job. It was not 19 Saudis, not 19 Muslims. It was our members of our own government facilitating a false flag attack in order to basically do three things: bring in the Patriot Act so the government can spy on us, grow the defense budget so it could be policed easier, and then also start a series of cascading wars. 7 regime changes in 5 years. Well, we didn't make it in 5 years, but Iran is the seventh country in that list. So we're still involved with it. Now, what's interesting, when Charlie said that to the kid, I was not alone in sending that message to him, saying I was very concerned with his response. Many others did also. And what it showed for the first time is that Charlie had been most likely a shill for Israel.
Mm-hmm.
If you looked at his, if you looked at all of his posts and his interviews and all that, he was 99% right on every single issue, but he always supported Israel. He always supported
To his
the
detriment.
Israelis. Yeah.
All the way until right up at the end when we have clear evidence that he was starting to change.
Well, it happened because of that interview. That interview was in March of 2025. The one I'm talking about, where the veteran was. Yeah. And so when I sent that
was
letter,
that soon? Oh, I didn't realize it was that close. I know what you're talking about. That veteran.
And that was the long-haired veteran.
No. Yeah, he had a beard. His hair was longer, but not long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so if I remember correctly, that was the guy that said, I think his initial statement before he got into the 9/11 thing was that Israel controls our government. That's how he started. Right. That's how he started. Okay, so yeah, so we're thinking about the same thing. He started that way, and then it transitioned over to 9/11. Okay,
yeah. So that's March 2025. I sent the letter. I'm sure several others sent letters. A lot of people were very concerned because it was the first time it was really discovered. It looks like he's shilling for Israel. Now, I've written several articles on it on my Substack, but if you look at his history, his mentor was a guy by the name of Bill Montgomery, a businessman from Barrington, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, it turns out, was a 33rd-degree Mason. Okay. Bill was the gentleman that said, please, don't bother going to college. Focus on the Turning Point. We're going to get this thing to grow. And you know how hard it is to make something grow.
Yeah.
Well, he ended up getting millions and millions of dollars. And one of his biggest investors was Foster Friess. Okay. You don't know who he is. He's a billionaire that came from Wisconsin, actually, was in the lumber industry. And he was kind of one of the first funders for Charlie to get it up and running. And of course, Charlie got more money from the Israelis and that account, for years. But it appears that Charlie, I believe, his job was to do what he was doing.
Yeah.
Be right on 99% of the issues, but always support Israel and defend Israel. Once it was discovered that he was a shill for Israel, they said, we got to get you off the stage.
Yeah.
Because it started to become a problem. Because
especially once he had that following he did, and people are listening to him, especially this younger generation, the moment that he starts swaying them in a different direction, honestly, he becomes a threat. He becomes such a large threat to Mossad and the Israeli government. So, yeah.
Well, he actually came out and started talking against him, but that was rare. He only did that the last few months before the event in Utah. But if you fast forward to the actual event, it's been dissected a million times. Obviously, this is what convinced me. A 30-06 to the neck, one burst of blood, no blood on the back of the white tent.
Yeah,
exactly.
No blood on the white T-shirt, no blood on the white shoes, no blood on the ground he fell on, which was paved over within a couple days of the actual event. No blood on the security detail. No blood on the ground that the security detail carried him over to get to the SUV. No blood on the SUV. Okay. And there's tons of film that you can see all this. Now, where's the death certificate? Where's the coroner's report? Where's the forensic analysis on the ballistics? Where is he buried? Where was the funeral? And we can go into depth. And I've written articles on this subject matter that go into explicit depth. But there is no evidence that Charlie is dead. There's no proof other than that.
So I saw, like, because I follow the Candace Owens investigation very, very intricately. Now, I mean, I have no reason to doubt any of your research. I know you're very intricate and you have connections and you have lots of knowledge in this type of space. I have no reason to doubt that. If I'm just trying to think back to some of the stuff she's presented, because she gets a lot of stuff as well. If I remember correctly, and again, I've only seen it a couple of times, but she got pictures of the inside of the SUV, and I thought, now I could be wrong, but I thought I saw what appeared to be bloodstains, but I don't remember. Cause, and it wasn't a lot, to be fair, because I mean, they're suggesting that it was that hit the artery, obviously, cause what was showing essentially was like an arterial spout, from the neck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, if this is all to be true, like how they're saying it played out, right? I mean, once an arterial bleed starts, I mean, that's an almost impossible thing to stop unless you're in the hospital at that point, right?
Yeah.
And I never thought about it with the whole no blood in the pathway of them carrying it. I never thought about it because I never cared to look at that at that specific thing. So it's like, I want to go back and actually look at that video because I never thought to look at that. But I do feel like I saw blood in the SUV. Now I have to go back and look to confirm.
But remember, Rusty, you and I had this conversation because remember whenever I was talking about dickhead that gave, care when he hit the ground, when he put his hands up, he had no blood on his hands.
You're 100% right on all of that. What I'm saying is from what I remember, and again, I am not a smart person. What I'm saying is from what I remember, when I saw the photos that Candace Owens showed on a couple of her shows for the inside of the SUV, because the guy who presented the exploding mic theory, which in my mind, if he is unfortunately dead, which, you have no idea how much I would really love for this to actually be true that he's alive. But if he was to actually be dead, the exploding mic theory, honestly, is the best fit theory. How that guy proved it with the science and everything like that, because it just all fits. Because the guy was saying if you saw the inside of the SUV, was there what looked to be like black glass or whatever on the floorboard, and I definitely saw that, because then that would kind of lead towards the exploding mic theory. So that's why I'm saying when she showed the inside of the vehicle, I swear I thought I saw blood stains in the vehicle. Again, I could be 100% wrong because I'm not a smart person.
So,
are you looking at it?
Here, let me send you a picture real quick. You can put it up if you want. So it definitely looks like a blood stain on the seatbelt.
Yeah.
Bro, but for arterial bleed, like,
yeah. Oh, okay. No, yeah. So this is there should be some more if you can find it, but I think this is what I'm remembering. I think this is what I'm here. Let me bring it up just so we can kind of dissect this live. Here we go. Okay. Yeah. So this is what appears to be like a blood stain on the seatbelt here. Okay. And then whatever this is, like a bag or some shit or a blanket, are there. And then I don't know, some fucking cough drops. What the fuck is that? I mean,
they
seriously,
were sticking them in the wound. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, what the fuck is that? Like,
those are like those morphine suckers that you carry in the army.
I know, but I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck are those? Like, okay. And let me bring up this other one.
You have to look at that. First of all, what information do we have to even show that that's the vehicle? There's nothing to confirm that. Second of all,
they destroyed it.
look
They
at
like crushed it or destroyed it or whatever it was.
right. Look at how little blood that is, and that's they're trying to come. I'll just say this, and I know there's a lot of Candace Owen fans and a lot of Joe Rogan fans and a lot of Sean Ryan fans and a lot of Tucker fans. We are in an information war.
Yes.
Okay. The center of gravity is the monopoly. The center of gravity is what gives the enemy its strength, and if taken away, will ensure its demise. The center of gravity is their monopoly on the narrative. They've been able to advance because they have the monopoly. Yeah, I mean, that does not really.
But look, here's my outlook on it, though. We all know that Netanyahu's probably dead right now. And they keep putting out AI videos. So it's easy to do shit on AI nowadays.
Sure.
So,
sure.
yeah.
But then there's also, I mean, here, if we want to go real tinfoil hat and go insane conspiracy, because again, like we're both saying, an arterial bleed, which is going to, when you think about how much blood is in the body, and to give credit to the team, they got him off the X and to the SUV fairly quickly, right? If they're going for an arterial bleed here as a story, and they get him from the X to the vehicle to extract out, like, you know, like they should have, that's what their kind of job is in this worst case scenario. I still don't see how that's all that's there.
Yeah. Like, I want to see the roof. I want to see the roof of the SUV.
Well, even if they did a cleanup, right? We're looking at deep red in the carpet. Like the leather, sure, I can see how that can kind of like, you know, get smeared like that if they did clean. But like, I'm talking about the carpet and the fucking thing. Like that would be deep, dark, soaked red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to think about how much blood is in the human body.
And I would say you got to look at everything. This is just one piece of data. You got to look at it in a comprehensive view.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at how they treated the scene after that, after the event.
Paved over it, you know, everything.
Well, even literally right after the shooting, his team members were standing on the chair that he was supposedly shot on, pulling off. We don't know if it was a camera or a hologram machine, but they didn't treat it like a crime scene. They treated it like a photo shoot. And
like
then watched the entire event. It was a production. Where was the media at the hospital? Where was the pictures in the hospital? Where was the funeral? You know, so you have to look at everything in a comprehensive view. And when you do that, you start to realize nothing adds up. And Candace Owens, because of her platform, she would not be there if she wasn't part of the gig.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan wouldn't be there if he wasn't part of the gig. Look at his slogan. He's got the all-seeing eye on his logo. On his logo. Sean Ryan, you know, one of the team members, worked for the CIA.
Mm-hmm.
Once a CIA operator, always a CIA operator. So, and you got to wonder, why do they have such a huge platform? It's very hard, as you know, unless you're independently wealthy, to build anything of that magnitude, right?
Well, see, we've had our analytics ran a handful of times on the show, and they label us as anti-Semitic. They label us and it specifically shows that they are. What word did they use? It's something about censoring, like not letting our shit get as much reach as it should be.
I don't remember the specific term, but it's essentially a throttled shadow ban. You know, it's essentially what it is.
And the funny thing about that is 2025, we end up getting an award for one of the top shared podcasts on Spotify in 2025.
Well, when you look at our general Spotify analytics, it says like we have nothing.
Yeah. But
that means you're telling the truth.
Yeah, and then if you look at the back end data, you can see some rocks in it, but it's and I've got another guy that he ran some of our stuff, and he was able to see the amount of how did he word it? Something about the download stream or the download data, the megabytes, or I don't know. I don't speak that language, so I don't even know it. But he was like, man, y'all got a lot of reach. He said they are not showing it on the front end. He's like, they
No.
are not letting it be seen. And he's like, keep doing what you're doing. He's like, but it's going to be hard for you. But it's so weird that right. And it was like right as we started talking shit and pushing like, we talked about Charlie Kirk, and we talked about the beryllium and gallium bullet theory. So like an alternate
Metals,
projectile, alloy projectile, which would, because obviously that wasn't or entry wound.
30 out
You and I
6.
both,
Yeah.
or all of us shoot. We all know that that was an exit wound, and with it being the big splatter pattern, that really looked like a gallium bullet, and which we know Israel's been using since what, the 80s, and the U.S. government's now getting into utilizing them because it is essentially an assassin bullet. You can't find uh, any of the projectile afterwards because it absorbs into your bloodstream and all that. Well, we talked about that, and it was like right at the cusp of, we put that out, and then I think like 2 weeks later is whenever when Spotify came out with the award, like the award things, and it was like, oh well, you got this, but now you're not getting seen by anyone, so you were doing good, but now fuck you. It's
I
shitty.
I think they're going to promote the stories they want to promote,
Yeah,
and they're going to
100%.
suppress the stories they don't want to suppress. And that's our biggest challenge. And the enemy knows it. Look who owns TikTok right now.
Oh
Larry
yeah,
Ellison.
Larry Ellison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look who owns CNN, his son. Look who owns X, Elon Musk. Okay.
Yeah.
Look who owns Facebook. All of these tech billionaires, they're all part of the same club, and they all want to make sure the truth does not get out. Our challenge is, how do we get the truth out in a world of lies? Because the truth will set us free, and this enemy can't survive the truth. So that is our challenge. How do we wake up the masses to the truth when we are suppressed everywhere and anywhere? And
Oh,
over
absolutely.
90%, and 90% of everything people see, read, and hear is basically false misinformation or propaganda.
100%. Well, what do you think, um if it was all smoke and mirrors and Charlie's not deceased, where do you think he is? What do you think he's doing? Like, what do you think? Like
Yeah,
some sort of wit sack? Like, is he in South America like Hitler went, or like,
yeah.
what do you think?
I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, he's in a location where he can carry on. He did his job, and he did his job very well. There was no need to kill him. They can just remove him from the stage, because everything we're seeing is a big show. You know that
Yeah.
now, right? I mean, when you look at Butler, when you look at Charlie Kirk, when you look at this incident in DC last week, when you look at Artemis mission, okay, every single thing, it's all one big show.
Well, did you see when Erica went out on stage on one of the things right after Charlie died, and so she walked over and she had like this bottle of like liquid tears or whatever it was,
Yeah.
and she pours it on her face to make it look like she's crying, and then like hypes herself up and goes out there. I think we showed that clip on the
Yeah.
show at one point in
Sure.
time, and I was like, bro, like,
Hey,
number
everybody.
one,
Hey, hold up.
yeah.
But come on, dude. Everybody grieves differently. Like, let's just give her a break, okay?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just scratch the surface of her background, and it should be screaming alarms.
And you know what? I want to give credit to Candace Owens on that, because she dug crazy deep, and she uncovered a lot on that one. Like that. I had no. I mean, none of us knew who the fuck Erica Franz-Faye, was before Charlie Kirk. So
yeah, running child trafficking over in Romania and all that. Like, oh God.
And her fucking mom. Holy shit. I mean, when it comes to Charlie, I mean, and God, everything about it like makes me wish and hope that he is, alive, because God knows we could really use him right now. But I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot to think about, and it's a lot to really process. That, I mean, who knows? Because I mean, what the most of us who don't want to just fall in line with believe your lying eyes bullshit. We know that the narrative that's out there, this lone gunman on a roof with a 30 out six, is complete and utter bullshit. We know that for a fact. I think the bigger issue is that we just don't know what the truth is, and that's what's upsetting. Given that we have such resources like we do now, unlike back in the '60s when Kennedy was, or back when Kennedy shot in the was it '70s, right? Yeah. Um, it's just that's what's frustrating. I feel like.
Bro, not the
What?
nothing. Anyways, so we end up finding a lot of comparisons between Kennedy and the Kennedy assassinations and the Charlie Kirk assassination, just in the theory, which really led me to believe that I said, it definitely had some sort of agency involvement, because we know the agency involvement with Kennedy, and we know the Mossad, the Israel, you know, implications in Kennedy, and they really lined up pretty well. So I don't know. It's shitty, especially now that people. Well, I don't know how many people, but now that some of us are all calling out Trump and saying he's a piece of shit, and didn't stand on what he believes. Like, it'd be nice to have someone like Charlie Kirk standing out there and say, "Look, this is why this dude's a fucking turd." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we all know he wouldn't go that vulgar as us, but we know that he called balls and strikes up to
Mm-hmm.
a point, and he was starting to get to that point with Israel, because like he did with on the PVD podcast whenever after October 7th happened and the war started, he even said like they're going to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Like he stated that on the podcast, and PVD podcast is a huge platform, so like he was starting to get to those points, and it's just now I feel like um we would have that voice that would be, because I feel like if he would have kept going the trajectory he was going and keeps and then had Trump done everything that he has currently done since Charlie's passed, like no different, and Charlie was still here, I feel like he would be probably on the side of everybody's calling him like, a traitor, like Joe Kent and all these other people who are like, no, like this is wrong. We shouldn't have done this shit, just because like Charlie, while he would be like, look, I don't agree with this, but like, I'm glad that it went this way and not this way. Like he would stand on, the principle of the situation. But like, it's just now we don't have that, and they still have the audacity to say, to still use his name and on the Charlie Kirk show. This should not be. It should not be the Charlie Kirk show anymore. Like that's just, to me, that's just fucking disgusting that they still do that.
Yeah. Think about this. Again, Charlie, I believe, was being used by the group of people that I focus on, the satanic pedophile globalists that are predominantly, but not exclusively, Zionist Ashkenazis.
Yep.
He was a tool for them. And this group, they control pretty much everybody at the top of banking, politics, industry, media, entertainment, okay, healthcare, education. Our system has been rotten. And today, sadly to say, the only people that will get to that highest level in whatever field I just mentioned is if you are part of the club or
Mm-hmm.
have put yourself in a position, sold yourself to the devil to be included in that club by doing something terrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie Kirk from the very beginning, and I thought he was doing great work, but it's when you read my article, and I encourage you and your listeners to do it, you'll recognize from the very beginning, he was almost certainly groomed to be this person. He had an agenda and he was facilitated. And when you get that kind of money, you don't get millions and millions of dollars to do what you want. You
Yeah.
get millions and millions of dollars to do what you're told.
Okay. And when you start scratching the surface of who he was funded by, it all starts to make sense. So, as much as I care about Charlie and I like Charlie, I think he was part of the system. And I think the fact that he lied about 9/11, well, let's face it, Charlie is a brilliant guy, probably borderline genius if he's not. At this stage in the game, with the data that's out there, with the information that's out there, anybody not recognizing 9/11 was not, we know the narrative is false.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened, that's a question mark. But almost certainly no plane hit the Pentagon, no plane hit
No.
the field, no. In fact, oh, here's an interesting fact. Do you realize that, on 9/11, we had one plane, well, two planes hit the towers.
Yeah.
One plane hit the Pentagon, then one was supposedly shot down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah.
The folks that shot him down were National Guard fighter pilots.
Oh, so hold on. But
Yeah.
Shot the one in Pennsylvania, Flight 93?
93.
Yeah. Hold on. Didn't they make a movie about this?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Because correct because
Well,
hold
they
on.
may have.
Because the narrative that I remember now, again, we're talking God, fucking however long ago this was. The narrative I remember is that the passengers crashed it.
Right. But the intent was the National Guard, the Air National Guard was
Yeah.
called up to shoot it down so it didn't make it to Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I know
It wa-
that. Yeah.
And the narrative that they've gone with is that the passengers said, let's roll.
Took charge and crashed
Off a
it,
cell
yeah.
phone. When you can't hear a cell phone from an airplane, okay, especially in 2001.
There's no
Anyway.
there's no service that high. So
Yeah. Well, there's no. Oh, and by the way, there's no debris.
Yeah.
There
Well,
was
and
no
then
plane.
and it's better to put out the propaganda of it was self-sacrifice and they decided to,
America.
It's a great narrative.
rather than
But-
no, the government said, you know what, let's not even risk it getting anywhere. We're just going to take it down. Now we're going to decide to kill all these people rather than them potentially find out a solution.
Now it's one thing to be like,
hold on
hey,
1 second. So is this the article you're talking about?
That is the last one I did on them, and it's worth a read. A few weeks before that, I did a piece on Erica. I think that's well worth the read. But yeah, that's one of the articles, and there's a hyperlink to incredible research too. But yeah, that's one of them, one of the many.
Rusty, I'll get you these, and I guess we can put out some links on it. So anyone listen to this, go to Substack, and Larry has some great articles on there. To be honest,
yeah. When I make the posts and everything like that, I'll include the link to your Substack. Yeah.
Yeah. What I wanted to say though, regarding the aircraft.
Mhm.
2 of the 4 pilots that were on the mission to do that, even though they didn't shoot the bird down, were promoted to general. One of them was General Kane, who's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, leading this war in Iran.
Like right now, today, currently.
Right now.
Yeah.
He was probably a major at the time. Now he's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But he was promoted from what I believe was a false flag attack that wasn't true. So it just goes to show you how deep the rot is. I'm just going to say this right now. Our government is rotten to the core. They have lied to us about 9/11. They have not lied to us about COVID. They have lied to us about Epstein. And they're lying to us about Iran right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the fact that Kane was supposedly one of the pilots on that mission on 9/11 is now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is let me just say this, and I wrote an article just today, yesterday I posted it, but there's no such thing as coincidences when it comes to politics, okay? If it happens in politics, it was orchestrated and planned.
Yeah.
There are no coincidences. And he's now the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff promoting an unlawful war and a war of choice in Iran.
Yeah, like whenever all this was even with Midnight Hammer, before we did this full on military conflict operation, because you can't call it a war. Like, fuck you, it's a war. So before it, when Charlie was still alive, right before Midnight Hammer and everything, I want to say it was March because we did Midnight Hammer in June. So March, um, Tulsi Gabbard did the briefing for the DNI thing, and it was briefed that, well, like, yes, Iran can be considered a threat, just because they don't like us and blah blah blah. There's no imminent threat because there was no credible intelligence from all of our available intelligence agencies that put it together that there was no credible evidence that they were building nuclear weapons, like and developing nuclear. Yeah, we know they're enriching uranium. It's like, okay, they're a sovereign country. Like, who are we to say they can't? But like, there was no credible evidence that they were developing a nuclear weapon. And then this on fucking tape, Trump saying was like, I know what she said, but I believe they were an imminent threat. Like he specifically just said, nah, I don't care what my people say. I think otherwise, which is like, we kind of know who you were listening to in that situation, which was Mossad and Netanyahu and the fucking Israeli government telling them, no, they are just weeks away because they've been weeks away for the past 30 fucking years. But, and then we go in, we do Midnight Hammer. Didn't agree with it, but it's like, hey, at least it was a one night thing, not a full scale invasion. We didn't lose anybody, blah, 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 whatever, right? Again, it was one of those things of like, if I can't have it this way, I'd rather have it this way. I can't make the decision. Here I am at the bottom, right? And then we get briefed that the whole thing was obliterated. All nuclear program is gone, blah, blah, blah. And then who's on the horn 2 months later saying that Iran is just months away from a nuclear weapon? Fucking Netanyahu again. I'm like, hold up, whoa. So is the government just clearly lying to us? Like, we know they always lie to us, but are they just like outright trying to make us look stupid right now? Like, I thought you just said that we obliterated their entire program, send them back to the fucking Stone Age and this shit, and yet they're back already again? Like, what you can't have it both ways here. What are we talking about? And then here we go, fucking, it was like, well, it wasn't that now because they had to move the goalpost to nuclear enrichment versus nuclear weapons. Because then that's when they started pushing the nuclear enrichment fucking narrative. Like, well, no, they're enriching. I'm like, but that wasn't the goalpost. The goalpost was weapons. And if we obliterated their entire nuclear program, who cares about enriching if the weapons are gone? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. You make a great point. I was commissioned in 1991. And from the time I came into the Marine Corps to the time I retired, over almost 30 years later, and even till today, Iran has always been within months away from a nuclear bomb.
Yep.
My entire career. Let's just, let me point this out too, because I think it's very important, but we keep hearing this lie that Iran is the largest state sponsor of terror. We have to destroy them. They've been demonized.
Yeah.
Let me clarify something. Do you know who killed 38 million people in the Middle East from 1971 to 2021 on sanctions alone?
The Jews.
No. The
America.
United States. The United States. Yeah. Do you know that what country has been at war its entire existence minus 17 years?
Israel.
The United States.
Oh,
Us.
okay.
United States. Okay. Do you know that right now, they say that the war started in 1979 when there was the coup.
The 47 years.
Yeah,
thing.
47 years.
Yeah.
But this started in 1953 when we, the United States and Britain, took out the elected
Shah.
prime minister, and put in our Shah. Okay,
Yeah.
because the elected prime minister was going to take care of the people. So we went over there, took him out, and put our puppet in, and left the Iranian people with someone they didn't care for, and that was the response for the overthrow,
which led to the Ayatollah and the IRGC and everything like that. Yeah,
we were responsible.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. We were talking about,
and even Charlie mentioned that Iran is the way it is today because of us. Because back whatever in the 50s, like you said, the guy, he wanted to nationalize the oil, and the United States was like, no, you're not taking the oil from us, motherfucker. And then
That's
here
right.
we go. This is what
and then
happens.
the women over there, they weren't censored. They could live their lives and be free. There was
And
a lot more
Iran
freedom. And
was
then
our greatest ally in the
biggest
region
ally. Yeah.
until that, and then we switched over to Israel. Because everything went to shit after we got involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we've been lied to about virtually everything. Again, if our government's going to lie to us about 9/11, COVID, Epstein, and this war, what will they not lie about?
Mm-hmm.
They
Oh,
have
yeah.
to. They have to. And that is why it's so important that we, great podcasters like yourself, committed to the truth, get the truth out there, because that's the only thing that's going to save us. But it's a challenge. You're going to be attacked. You're going to be censored, and it could even go worse. You can get arrested. Who knows? Even threatened, which I've been all the above many times.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. It's a shame at how they do things. And like this one, that Yes Jews or
Yeah.
Yes All Jews article you did,
Yeah.
like
Did you read that?
Yeah, I did. So
Yeah.
I've read a handful. You put so many out, and it's like I have to jump
Yeah.
through, and I kind of pick and choose, and I look at the headlines of them, and I'm like, oh, this one, I want to look at this one today, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and then what was the one you did? I know you've done a handful on Trump. Trump, the greatest president of ever, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Larry, Trump, the greatest president ever. It's like, oh, like whenever I saw it, I was like, what the hell? I was like, there's got to be satire in that. And then I read it, I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, cool.
For the New World Order.
Yeah.
Trump is the greatest president for the New World Order. And I list 22 key bullets confirming.
Which, he's the president of peace and all that bullshit. It's like, bro, like, I don't know. It drives me nuts. Like, so many people are putting this son of a bitch on this totem pole and completely overlooking it, like what he's actually doing. And then his interaction with the media is so unpresent. Like the other day on, I don't remember, was it NBC or CNN or whatever, and she reached out where they had called him out for being a pedophile or whatever, and he immediately goes in there and, well, that's why you're fake news, or you're the worst, news agency of ever, or whatever. And it's like, bro, you're like good friends with Epstein. Y'all are, I'm going to refer to it like this. Y'all are holding back the pedophiles, all the Epstein files. And it's like, bro, y'all are all, so screwed up. It's ridiculous. And like, I think that we need to completely kick everyone out of politics and start from scratch. And I hate to say this, and I'm going to say this, but
you don't hate to say it.
I'm going to say it, but I don't like to say it because I know eventually I'm going to get a knock at the door. We need a revolution. We need a revolution where we start from scratch, new politicians, a government of the people, by the people, for the people. The Joe the plumbers, the guys that are on the street that are working the day-to-day labor jobs and blue collar and white collar jobs that say, you know what? I don't like being taken advantage of. This shit's corrupt. We need to get here and make some changes. And I know it'll never happen, but it needs to.
Well, I first of all, you're not wrong to say what you said, but we always we never talk about violence, right?
Yeah,
We're talking about change by exposing the truth.
absolutely.
So that has to remain paramount. And I do believe our strength is in our numbers. Imagine if we woke up. I mean, how many people are really woke up to what's going on in the world today? 10%,
The 4 people on here
15%?
right now.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it's a very small number. We don't need 100% knowing everything. We'll never know everything. We don't even know 50%, but we need more than we have now. When we fought the revolution, in 1776, we had less than 30, we had roughly 30% of the population that supported the revolution. So we need to wake up the masses. That is our biggest challenge.
Mm-hmm. It's so hard whenever, how do you combat something where we are in America, or America and Israel, they're the propaganda machine, and they control every aspect of media, and that was a big reason. Like, whenever we started this, how I did it was, I went in and I set up a C corp, and I set it up as our parent corporation is set up as a news agency for some levels of protection. But us being an independent, it's so hard whenever we're really fighting this giant conglomerate. Like, Rusty and I were just talking recently. I think eventually I'm going to try to grow it to the point where, you know, number one, we're already in discussions with setting up some podcasts underneath our DP uh,
Umbrella.
entertainment
Yeah.
moniker, under umbrella. But really, I want to expand it out where it is something like a YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, all that. And it's hard with the amount of bandwidth it would need, but really put it out there. But back to it, it's hard because look who owns Google, look who owns, every big search engine out there, and every internet engine. It's you damn near have to be a billionaire to do something.
Well, here's the problem. We don't have a First Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're censored. I'm censored. Anybody that's speaking the truth is censored.
Yeah.
Anything that's put on social media, as you all know, it's going to be taken down. It's going to be shadow banned. It's going to be suppressed. Okay. And we know this administration, working with the agencies, works with all these outlets to make sure only information they want out gets out.
Yeah.
So, we don't have a constitution right now. We do not have a First Amendment, and it's going away faster. They want to now, it's happening in the UK where they're arresting people for their posts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's coming here. Hillary Clinton was just seen recently talking about how we need to suppress social media platforms, passing information we don't want them to pass.
Yeah, I when we did an episode, and this was back, kind of right soon after we got started, because I found I stumbled across something. You know what I'm about to talk about, because I want to pick his brain about it. Yeah. Because I stumbled across this on pure accident. Back I think it was October was when it first happened of last year. When those cloud outages happened, you remember Amazon Web Services, Azure, and stuff like that. A buddy of mine at work sent me a message talking about because AWS went down, and it was a massive thing, the headlines, because AWS hosts a lot of things, and then my buddy hit me. I was like, oh, guess what? Azure is down too. And I never heard the word Azure. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And he's like, oh, that's the Microsoft cloud platform. He's like, 2 outages in a couple of days. I mean, that's not weird. I was like, okay, let me look into this. So I started fucking doing research. And then I started digging. My first thought was like, who profits, who, like, stuff like that. Just kind of doing basic stuff. Well, then I started to dig deep into, like, I feel like I uncovered a conspiracy just by doing this. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And I started building a timeline. We did an entire episode about it. It was episode 14. But Project Nimbus. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard the term. Yeah, I don't know the details.
Project Nimbus is a cloud platform, but the technology behind it is fucking insane, right? So Project Nimbus is a contract for the Israeli government that IDF uses, Mossad uses, Unit 8200 uses, and stuff like that. And what it was originally supposed to, on the surface or whatever like that was supposed to do, was just supposed to be a cloud platform to help, store, their mission data, kind of a thing, right? So, like, we're like, okay, cool, it's a government contract for, whatnot like that. You don't think nothing of it. But what they started to leak out about what it was actually doing, and then you start getting whistleblowers coming out, because it was a joint contract between Google and Amazon Web, and Amazon who won the contract. Microsoft was a part of it in some aspects as well. They say, well, we didn't know, whatever, like, whatever. But on top of that, uh, the the original person who was trying to win the bid, who didn't win it, was Larry Ellison with Oracle, and he lost the bid. And so then it went on to Google and Amazon Web. Now, what they've been caught doing is storing all the Palestinian data of everyone for targeted airstrikes, because this cloud platform is so fucking insanely, like, just it's powerful technology, right? On top of that, there was a memo from a lawyer from Google prior to them winning the contract who is saying, like, hey, we should not be accept this contract bid the way it is, because what it does, even though Google's winning the contract, what it did is it gave the government of Israel full authority to do whatever they wanted to the program after Google won the contract with no protections. So whatever they were winning it, quote unquote, for at the initial time, afterwards, Israel could do whatever the fuck they wanted to manipulate and change the code of the software program to fit their needs, which is what they've done afterwards.
Yeah.
And so when you come back to the whole censorship and controlling of information, right? Because further into that episode is when you started linking the cloud outages. I built a timeline of when crazy things with Project Nimbus started to spike in the sphere, because the Guardian posted a bombshell article on the day that the second cloud outage went down. And when that cloud outage went down, everybody, was so fucking, oh shit, cloud outage down. And so nobody's getting these stories, right?
Yeah.
And then the bigger thing on the second day with the second cloud outage went down is the primary platform this was the third outage. This was Cloudflare, which Cloudflare hosts like Grok, Rumble, and X, right? But the only platform that was primarily targeted in the outage was X, and X is pretty much the biggest news platform on the earth right now. And that was when the article dropped. So they were trying to unintentionally suppress the article. And it was just like, and when I started putting all these pieces together in a timeline, I was like, what the fuck did I just find?
Yeah, no, I mean, once you start going down that issue, as far as, our First Amendment, and you understand what it's supposed to give us, you realize we do not have a First Amendment. Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, so this was that article. So Rusty wrote this one.
Oh, did you? Awesome.
Yeah. So what I can do is, or Rusty can do, one of us, we can share you all of our data on this, because hell, it might be something that you want to rewrite or you want to do your own. And hell, if we can give you a leg up and another episode, or I'm sorry, article for your Substack. Yeah, it's a good one. He wrote
Thank you.
He wrote a more satirical article, and I write a lot of talking shit articles.
And I wrote the one right there too, like the case of shutting down both the FBI and the ATF.
Well, you might as well put in all the alphabet agencies. I mean, to be honest with you, we do. Our government is rotten to the core. It needs to be cleansed. Yeah. We need to have truth, transparency, and justice. And we don't have any of those. A government can't survive like that. It's well known that it's the lack of trust in one's government that has destroyed civilizations from the Roman Empire to the Soviet Union.
Yep.
How many people trust our government?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody for a while has truly trusted the government. They always put an unhealthy amount of trust in one person, and that's the president, for whatever reason. And it's like, obviously you want to be able to look toward the leader as like, hey, we want to look to our leader as a good example. But putting your trust in the president as the end all be all, the person that's going to fix everything, is just shows you how ignorant people are to the way that the government is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Larry, who do you think
Well, 'cause-
actually is running
yeah.
the show?
Say it.
Well, I will, but I'm gonna dovetail off what you just said because I was gonna say. But the bottom line is, and then I'm gonna get to your question. Dust. The bottom line is that both parties work together behind the scenes.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't have a government. We have nobody fighting for us. This is why, regardless of who gets elected, what happens? We get more wars. Nothing changes. More wars, more taxes, more debt, less freedoms, and no one is ever held accountable.
Nope.
No one.
Ever since the Patriot Act, we've had more and more of our freedom stripped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as who's
Chisel
running the
away.
show, Dusty, I think it's become obviously it's we have a deep state. I believe it's the people that I've talked about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was that again?
satanic-
Who was that again?
The satanic pedophile globalists that are predominantly Zionists, but not exclusively Ashkenazis. I believe, and these are the powerful bloodlines. These are the descendants of Nimrod from the Tower of Babel. These are the people that run the banks. And this is how they're able to have so much power. They control the banking system. They control the central banks. They can print money at the cost of paper and ink. And if you can do that, you can buy off anybody.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing. All these people are being bought off. How do you think these billionaires became billionaires? Do you think they're really that intelligent? Do you think they really started? Zuckerberg started Yahoo or Facebook or Elon started X. Okay, all this stuff. It's all choreographed. So it's a small group of very wealthy people from prominent bloodlines, prominent families that are of the group I talked about. Most are descendants from Nimrod, from the Tower of Babel, okay, who wanted a one world government. And they're really running the show. Our politicians are pawns.
Yeah.
Our generals are pawns. We do not have. Yeah.
What are Ashkenazis?
Ashkenazis are the Jews. Well, they're from originally Khazaria.
Yep.
The Ashkenazi Jews, these are the folks that are from Eastern Europe. Okay, these are the folks,
The ones that immigrated after the war.
The ones that immigrated afterward. Well, let's face it. Rothschild was an Ashkenazi. Rothschild is the one who was behind creating Israel after the war. It was supposed to be after World War I, but it didn't happen with the Balfour Declaration.
Yeah,
but
I was
it did
about to say
happen
the
after
Balfour
World War
Declaration.
II.
I was trying to think of that. Yeah.
So most of these Ashkenazis have no lineage. These are Jewish imposters.
Yep.
They have no bloodline. They have no rights to the land that we call Palestine. But yet they created a country there.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong on my knowledge of Khazaria. So Khazaria, it was a pretty big empire, the Khazarian area, right? And a lot of the Jews from that area that immigrated up to Eastern Europe, which created the Ashkenazi Jew thing. A lot of those people in that time frame, they were converts. They were not like actual. They converted to Judaism, and then that's how they became Jewish. That's how I'm remembering the history that I learned when I researched, the Khazarian Mafia, right?
Yeah.
It was a lot of them were converts. From then the Khazarians, they immigrated up to the European area, the Eastern European area, which created the Ashkenazi Jew line. And then that's when, after the war, World War II, then they immigrated to modern state Israel, which is now like 99% of the people there are actual, fall from that lineage of bloodline when it comes down to it, because whatchamacallit, the Palestinians and the people there, and this was funny to me because I'm hang on, just want to get this out of my head real quick because it pisses me off, because I've never understood the fucking reason of anti-Semite. Like they decided to create their own word of, it just means racism. I mean, like they just, we're just going to create our own thing for us because we're special. Fuck you. Because like Palestinians are Semites. Like being Semitic is to that region, but they've co-opted it to mean only Jewish. And it's like, no, you don't. So you can't, you say like you're anti-Semitic, by saying that the state of Israel is causing a genocide. I'm like, okay, well, are you anti-Semitic then by killing all the Palestinian people because they're Semites? It's like, you, you can't have it both ways here, buddy. Like, come on. Sorry, I want to get that out real quick. But go ahead and answer my question about the Khazarian history if I'm wrong or right.
No, you're pretty much on. But this was all done by design. They conflated religion with politics, Zionism, in order to give them cover. And at the end of the day, they're Satanists.
The synagogue of Satan.
They're the synagogue of Satan. Okay. God said, go forward and multiply. And Nimrod said, well, no, I want to create a tower and I want a one world government. God made sure the tower was destroyed, but the quest for this one world government has never left. And it has, through ancient civilizations, marinated through history to where we are today. Now, this group of people are in the most critical positions of power and influence, and they're getting darn close to achieving their agenda, the New World Order. And the good thing is, though, is this: things happen slowly and then quickly. For example, look at what happened after COVID. Look how many people woke up.
Mm-hmm.
This has been going on for millennia.
Yeah,
we didn't really know about it until after COVID. People started saying, "Wait a second, this is not right. This is something very wrong going on here," and people started to wake up. Now they're waking up with the war in Iran. There's going to be almost certainly another false flag attack in order to justify an escalation in Iran or an extension to another area, the Chinese or the Russians. There'll be an attack on the U.S. soil. It's going to be blamed on somebody else in order to escalate this a conflict we're in now to World War III, which I think it's already called World War III.
I think you can technically call it that in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know, like, I think so. To me, honestly, when it felt like we were kind of already in World War III with the Ukraine war, you know what I mean? Because there's multiple countries aside from just Russia and Ukraine in this, right? And so, but I think they purposely don't want to say World War III because they just don't want to admit that we're there, So like, I feel like when we truly get to like a world war status, like, the first two where you have like, all kinds of crazy countries, like really sending their armies in, I still don't think they'll even admit we're in world war. You know what I mean? Just because they don't want to admit that we failed to stop it. That's how I feel like they're going to propagate it.
Well, not only did they fail to stop it, they facilitated it.
Yep.
Now, what if the governments around the world, Xi Jinping in China, Putin in Russia, whoever's in charge now, in Iran, okay, and the United States are, Trump, for example. What if they're all on the same team? What if they all have the same agenda? What if it's the folks at the top of politics, banking, and industry against we, the people, the masses? The evidence is becoming more clear that is actually the case. The evidence is more clear that the Israeli government and the government of Iran and the government of the United States, the government of China and the government of, only at the top, Russia, they're all aligned. And we're watching this as one big show. It's kind of like we're in the middle of a WWE match. We're not just watching it. We're going to be part of it.
And his name is John Cena.
Yeah.
Oh man. But you mentioned Nimrod, and it made me think about not that I want to keep talking about her, but again, one of Candace Owens' podcasts, she was going on about when we first went into Syria, that there were reports of we had found the tomb of Nimrod. And because when you're going through and you're trying, because I know that there was no confirmed, when you go through history, there was nothing confirmed of where Nimrod was buried. But the speculations was that the tomb of Gilgamesh was actually the tomb of Nimrod. Have you ever heard that?
I have vaguely heard of that, but yeah.
Yeah, or it was, yeah. So this is Iraq because I'm looking at it now. So,
Okay.
but because apparently, and she had people reaching out, through her tips box, that was on the initial invasion and stuff like that, and then I guess like also people talking about, that they were tasked with guarding like tombs, like or um ancient ruin sites, wherever they would be stationed at, while they were in Iraq. Because me and him have talked about, like, obviously the Bible, when they say, when they talk about Israel, we're not talking about the country, modern state of Israel of today. People who conflate that are stupid. Now, we've always said, and there's no denying that that area that includes the modern state of Israel, but also Iran and Iraq and Syria, there's no denying that that entire area has immense biblical historical value in stuff, because that's the entire area is where it happened. We all
Yeah.
know and accept that. It's just, so whenever she was talking about it, and she was reading some emails from people that were on those missions or whatever, and it was talking about how the tomb of Nimrod, which they believe to be the tomb of Gilgamesh, that they believed they had found. And then there was also some emails uncovered from Hillary at the time, because she was Secretary of State.
State.
Yeah, at the time. And going on, like, we found like talking about Gilgamesh specifically. And I think in some later context talked about Nimrod. So it was like, it's, it does beg to question, like, how can we not give further credit to at least some type of belief in the higher power of them worshiping and dabbling in the dark arts or the black magic or the satanic or whatever they want to call it, because maybe it's not, they think it's just they're worshiping Satan. Maybe they're just thinking they're looking at the dark arts or whatever they want to call it, right? Whatever the people want to believe it is. How can we not give more credit to this when we have like stuff that this stares at us right in our face with first person accounts, some fucking email traffic, it blows my mind that nobody's sitting here saying like you have to believe everything that is out of this world, because they always lie to you. No. But we're saying is like, I don't want people that listen to me. I don't want people that listen to you, Larry, or that listen to you, Dusty. I don't want people to listen to us and take that as God speak. I must believe him. That's 100% true. Like, no, take what we say, do your own research, and come to your own conclusion, your own thought. Think for yourself. Stop believing what you are taking as a higher power, which is Trump or Obama or whoever is in charge of your party at the time, whoever you think is like supposed to, lead you to, prosperity at the time. Like, don't take what we say as the 100% truth. Take us as a point of knowledge, a reference to guide you into a different direction of research, to make your own fucking thought, make up your own mind. But people don't do that anymore. And that's what's frustrating.
Well,
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. So on all that, so I know a lot of people are saying that whenever you're talking about the Jews and everything, and whatever whatever you called them before, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Ashkenazis or whatever. Ashkenazis.
Ashkenazis.
So I've seen a lot and read a lot saying that the Ethiopians are the closest lineage or the only actual Jews that are out there. Is that accurate, or what is the accuracy of that? Because I know that the agencies research them having the Ark of the Covenant there. There's all this information about they have these monks that essentially protect their temple where they keep the Ark of the Covenant, whatever. And then they actually use the longest Bible that there is. So are
Because there's
these
no
dudes
edits
the
to it,
actual,
right?
yeah, are these the actual Jews, or because obviously these corrupt Jews over in Israel are not the actual Jews. They're
They're
essentially
secular.
using,
Yeah.
they're using the Bible and the amount of Christianity through our world as kind of a
They're using it
Trojan
as a form of
horse.
mind control.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a Trojan horse, and saying, "Well, we're God's chosen people, so you better believe us, or y'all are all fucked." You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
is that the case, or do you think that the Ethiopians are the actual Jews, or what?
Well, if you look through it historically and if you look through it genetically, their DNA is much more aligned to the area and than obviously the Ashkenazis, who have no ties to it genetically. So it appears that way. We know that the Bible has been manipulated. Certain things have been taken out. We are told that the most complete Bible is the Ethiopian Bible.
Mm-hmm.
That is the truest form of the Bible. But even then, I mean, sadly, we have to question everything now
Yeah.
because there is so much uncertainty. And we talked about Satanism. These people are Satanists. If you go back to Nimrod, right? Nimrod hated God. Okay. He believed in God, but he hated God and he wanted to destroy, and his lineage, they want to destroy all of God's creations. This is why you see transhumanism right now taking place. They're trying to morph it. This is why you see the push for transgenderism. This is why you see animals being cloned. This is why you see agriculture being modified,
Yeah.
right? So this is all about the destruction of God's creations. They believe in God, but they hate God and they want to destroy God's creation. And that is what they're doing now. They're going to try to implement AI as the next God.
So going into that, so you were talking about the transgender and the satanic. Now, I don't know if this is something you want to touch or you want to have this conversation or not. I'm going to say it. Me and Rusty have talking about this multiple times, but I've just never brought it up because of certain situations. Okay, so there's a lot of information online that shows that the complete propagandized World War II was from the Jewish people, or the uh, Israelis.
Yeah.
I'm going to refer to them as the Israelis instead of the Jews.
Ju-
Okay, so
Judea,
is
because back then that's what they referred it to as. So
what I've seen a lot of research is, and it's everything from, General Patton saying that we're on the wrong side of the war, to the point where, the actual process happened where, the Israelis tried to overthrow the Tsar in Russia, ultimately getting kicked out. No other country would take them in Europe. Germany takes them, thinking that they're going to be fine. Next thing you know, they start infiltrating the politics in Germany, and and they turn around and they start corrupting it with the transgenderism, the pornography, the all this satanic bullshit. And then next thing you know, that's where Hitler never really was trying to, and I don't know the truth on this and I don't know where it is, so you're going to have to, correct me on this, but it was whenever they were put in the concentration camps, it wasn't to kill them, it was to clean them and figure out what they could do with them. And then ultimately what ended up occurring was they got to a point where Hitler and them, they were coming to an agreement on policies and regions that they were going to give them. They went to the UN, or the UK, or I don't know who they went to, but they had a conversation. They completely lied to them. Which ended up drawing the US into the conflict. And the only reason that they end up getting super malnourished and everything was because of the blockades that the United States put in Germany at the time and in Europe at the time, which caused them not to get resources into the camps. Is there any validity to that, or is that just like internet bullshit? Because like that Geico commercial or whatever it is, like you know, if the internet says that it's true, but we all know that's not
Yeah.
factual. So, what is your thought
Yeah.
on that?
Let me start by talking about sources because that's the most critical thing. If you're going to talk about the issues that we have today, we got to think about sources. In the military, when you're dealing with sources, you don't take anything as intelligence that you can act upon unless it comes from not one, but at least two credible sources. So you have to have at least two sources saying the same thing. And by credible, that means they have a long track record of telling you the truth. So if you have a
Yes.
single source saying something, that doesn't mean anything, especially if you don't know if they have any credibility. But if you have a source that's credible, told you the truth for a long time, you can listen to that, but it's not confirmed and you can't take action unless you get it corroborated by another source. So you need at least two sources of credible. So that's a good way to sift through the bull crap. If it's just a single source you never heard of before telling you something crazy, put it to the side. If you hear some other source that's credible that you have trust and confidence in based on its history, then you can start to use it as information worthwhile. With what you are saying, I'm going to say this right now. All wars are a racket.
Mm-hmm.
All wars
Mm-hmm.
are bankers' wars. Okay. Every single one, especially in our lifetime and in our history as a nation. Mayor Rothschild wanted to create Israel.
Yeah.
They needed a way to get to own that land. So the Ashkenazis, who claimed to be Jewish, um, the Ashkenazis claimed to be Jewish from Eastern Europe, pushed for this. Now there is very credible sources that say Hitler was an illegitimate grandson of Mayor Rothschild's. If you
Really?
go, and this is fact. This is fact. Hitler's mother
Yeah.
was a caretaker at a home in I believe it was Austria. She ended up getting pregnant, and the home was one of the Rothschilds. Um, she left Austria, came to Germany, had the baby. That baby turned out to be Hitler's father. We
Really?
know we know that he's illegitimate. We haven't done the DNA, but the chances are very highly that Hitler was an illegitimate grandson of one of the Rothschilds. We do know this also. The only way he could have risen up and the Nazi Party was with the funding. And who do you think funded? The Rothschilds and the banks in New York and London. We funded these wars. Okay. And so they needed something catastrophic for the Ashkenazis in order to get global sympathy and in order to create Israel after the war. So
Holocaust.
there's a lot of evidence right now that the Holocaust, I'm not going to say it didn't exist, but it was not at the magnitude. They said 6 million Jews died during the Holocaust. The evidence is overwhelming that that number is wildly off.
I think
I've
the
heard numbers.
number's like 300,000 max. Is what
I've heard numbers from 300,000 to a couple million, but even
Yeah.
still, that's a significant difference from the 6 million that we have been told through
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
We do know also when you go to Auschwitz, for example, and you look at the gas chambers, the doors didn't have locks on them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the windows were not sealed. They weren't.
In the gas
order
chamber.
to have a Yeah, in order to have a gas chamber, unless you want to kill everybody in the area, you
Yeah.
have to have a secure facility.
I do
Mhm.
remember someone, and it was like a German scientist talking about how I don't think it was Auschwitz specifically, but it was another camp, that was, that supposedly had, all the gas chambers, right? Because it was cyanide gas that they were said that they were using, right?
Yeah.
That why, if there was, all these, people that were killed with cyanide gas, because it wasn't just Jews. There was actually, multiple, but they only focused on the Jews, right? But there
Yeah.
was, because there was
Yeah.
Christians, there was all kinds of other people that was killed as well. But to include even Germans themselves, but nobody wants
Sure.
to talk about that. But so the people that were said to be killed by these gas chambers using cyanide, that they go and test all these gas chambers like inside of it, because cyanide will seep into that fucking stone, whatever, whatever, it is. And there's not a trace in any of these gas chambers of cyanide, except for one tiny one that was used to delouse lice, because that's how you kill the lice, because there was very bad lice problems in these concentration camps, right? And these big showers or whatever, whatever like that. It was to delouse them. That was what they were used for. But of course they, propaganda. And then I remember that there was a time where even I thought, I'm guilty of this, but I was young, okay, and I never thought about it until recently, that the movie Schindler's List, I was always told that was a true story, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a true story. And people, a lot of people because I watched it in school, and they sold it to me as a true story.
They showed it.
Yeah, but it's not. It's complete fiction. They're just saying this is what we believe, could have happened or whatever like that. But then it got propagated over time as to be presented as a true story to help sell this fucking propaganda. I was just like, holy shit. And I swear to you, like within the past year is when I had saw a video that showed that was not true. And I hadn't even thought about that movie. Just it wasn't a thought, but I was like, holy shit, they sold that to us in school, that was a true fucking story.
Absolutely. Well, okay, so I don't know if you've ever heard about this. So apparently in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, I can't remember what it was. I'd have to look it up. But a group of Australian archaeologists, I guess that's what they're called, where they're checking the ground and all that. So they actually went to a couple of sites where they said that there were these big mass burials of all these dead Jews from the Holocaust, and they ran LiDAR over it. Yeah, and they ran LiDAR over everything, and they checked the ground. They couldn't find any of these burn pits, burial pits. They actually said that the ground looked like it was never disrupted. And I think in one of the reports, it showed that they had said that there was maybe only 2,500 to 3,000 people ever on this site, where it was the biggest site that they said was in Germany. Have you heard anything about that, or what do you take on all this? Because we've been sold all this propaganda for the last X amount of years, and
I'll simplify it.
Yeah, especially because you got to look at our textbooks that our kids learn from and that we learn from and everything. And
which our textbooks were written by Robert Maxwell.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So what do you think?
I'm going to just keep it simple and just say that virtually everything that we have been told all of our lives
is a lie.
Is mostly a lie. I mean, there are some truths within it, but the narratives overall have been a lie, and that goes for most Americans, and I would say most of our existence as a nation.
History is written by the winners.
Yeah, to include the the Revolutionary War. So first and foremost, I think everything that we have been told needs to be now scrutinized in a very big way. The evidence that you're talking about, I haven't heard of that specifically, but I've heard of things similarly. I don't trust anything coming from the government. I don't trust anything coming from a politician. I don't trust anything coming from corporate media. You have to go to sources that are canceled, censored, or attacked, and you have to do your diligence. The truth is out there. I will tell you right now, the truth is out there. But you have to seek it.
You sound like an alien. You sound like an alien conspiracy. The truth is out there.
Well, but it is.
Yeah.
I'll give you a story. I'm going to give you a story. So, I spent almost 30 years in the Corps. I retired. I went back to Illinois to run against Tammy Duckworth. Right. I'm sorry. And then when that didn't work out, I became a commandant at a military academy.
Oh, okay.
Within Chicago Public Schools.
Like ROTC.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. And it was during COVID. And during COVID, the CEO of Chicago Public Schools gave everybody in the district a day off to get vaccinated and boosted. Okay. I knew better because I had been following Peter McCullough at the time and so forth. But I sent an email to the parents and the cadets. And I said, please do not get boosted or vaccinated until you talk to your doctor about these numbers, this data, the government data that you can find at this website. And I gave the website. At the time, it was VAERS, open VAERS, right? Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System. At the time, there were 18,000 deaths. The problem is that was only 1% of the real number because of underreporting. But anyway, but I got fired after that. But yeah, that story is not uncommon. But what I'm saying is that's when I realized this is everything we are living in is a lie.
Yeah.
If our government is going to lie about these major issues, they're going to lie about every one of them. So, yeah, we have to go back and reevaluate everything. The last article I wrote was on the missing scientists. Have you all?
Yes, I have been wanting to fucking talk about this, but God, it keeps evolving. Holy shit, dude. It is insane.
Is that your article that I just put up on the screen a little bit ago?
That's the last one.
The NASA one, yeah. Oh my God, dude. Okay, first of all, let's get this out the way because I know Dusty's going to ask it. Did we go to the moon?
No. Not even close.
Okay.
And I wrote an article about that previously about the Artemis mission. I'm just going to go with 3 things, just so you know. We can't go to the moon. We've never been to the moon, and it's going to be a long, long time till we ever do.
Is it because of the radiation belt?
That's the first thing. Yeah, the Van Allen radiation belt, okay, which is so strong you would need 6 feet of lead in a capsule surrounding you in order to get through it without dying.
That's heavy.
That's heavy, okay? Second of all, there's a thing called temperature. Just within the first few thousand miles, 6,000 miles of the Earth's atmosphere, you can reach temperatures up to 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it's like 38, 39. Everything on the lunar module has a lower melting point, significantly lower than that. Okay, stainless steel, titanium, heat-treated glass, aluminum alloy, all the stuff that they were using would have been melted. And then the third thing is speed. In order for a rocket to get out of the Earth's gravitational pull, it would have to go 9 times the speed of a speeding bullet from a rifle. Let that sink in.
Like a 30 out 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you're talking like 25,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that being said, like the Blackbird and the U-2, they go up, into the stratosphere. I guess it's staying in that gray area where they can travel that high and whatnot like that because they're not going above to break that heat barrier.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious, because I know our planes because I know our planes can go pretty fucking high without quote unquote going to space.
No, we're talking. I think like 6,000 feet. 6,000 miles. 6,000 miles. I'm sorry. 6,000 miles.
6,000 feet. That's it.
Did I say feet? Yeah, no. 6,000 miles. That's what we're talking about. But no. But even if you look at the NASA scientists, they said it themselves. And in my article, I've captured several scientists from NASA. One said the reason we haven't gone there is because we lost the technology.
I talked about that on I don't remember what episode it was because I was just like, so to me, and now my opinion and my thought process is always able to change. Like I'm not an absolutist on anything but God, right? But here's my thought: is like, well, again, I'm always open. My mind's always open. I was like, because he's like, I don't think we fucking win. I was like, all right, look. I was like, I think maybe we did go. I think the reason why we maybe haven't been back is because one, they're hiding something from us up there, or whether it be like a lunar base. Where just thinking out loud of what my thought process was or is, currently, right? But the whole excuse of we lost the technology, I was like, you couldn't be more dumb to think that we could actually believe that I lost the technology from back in the 60s, and we haven't been able to just recreate the technology with by accident or with AI, like just like,
Yeah.
hey, create launch technology to go to the moon, and AI wouldn't fucking spit it out 3,000 different ways. I'm like, that is the
Yeah.
dumbest excuse that you could possibly use to say
Well,
that's the reason why we haven't been back.
Well, and I've
Yeah.
been saying for the longest time I didn't believe we went to the moon. And then whenever they take back off from the moon, okay, here's another thing. How the hell did they leave someone on the moon? Because how do they get a video of us taking them back
picture.
off of
I
the
mean,
moon? So
Did you
it's
see?
like,
Okay, hold on. Did you see that
It's
video
dumb.
of that guy from the like? It was a New York dad recapping. He's like, "Oh my, okay, keep talking. I have to find this because it's so funny." So keep
okay,
talking.
yeah, but like there's so much of it. So number one is one of the things is like we were transmitting information from the moon back to Houston at the time, back to NASA. How? Whenever half the time we can't even transmit a phone call across the country without the damn line dropping.
Right.
And it was damn near real time. It was,
Yeah.
so they said, who was actually the first person on the moon? If when they got off the moon, there was already a son of a bitch out there taking pictures of them stepping off the spaceship onto the moon. And then did we leave a motherfucker behind
Okay.
when they took off? It's like there's so much about it that I'm like, holy shit.
Okay, here it is.
Okay, hold on, let me see.
Hang on. This guy is so funny.
Fucking explain to me. Here you go. The guy's getting off the rocket ship. Who the fuck is filming him? Who's filming him?
A guy?
How'd the fucking guy get up there if this is the first guy supposed to be on the fucking moon? A different rocket ship?
I don't know.
So they sent the rocket ship up there. He got off and he's like, all right, come on up now. I'm ready to fucking film. Are you fucking serious?
Rocket ship.
He's supposed to be the first guy on the moon. It's
Yeah.
bullshit. The car. How the fuck did the car fit in that rocket ship? Look, how did that car fit in the rocket ship?
I don't know.
See, I didn't think about that.
Then the guy's floating around with a big fucking cord to his stomach, and they're telling you that's his fucking, life support. What's it give? Was it fucking feeding him through the fucking tube like a baby? They're bouncing around like a fucking jerk off. Yeah, watch. Let me show you. There it goes.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to stay behind. You guys go back to Earth. I'll fucking die up here. And how the fuck did he get the film back to Earth? Yeah, look,
Yeah.
the fake fucking parachute. Hey, we're home now. What happened to the guy back on the moon? They just left him?
I guess.
Everyone guesses they don't have any fucking facts. Bullshit.
See, like how look if my dumbass thought that too. How do more people not think about that and realize it? But then again, it's also the situation of how many people have actually watched and looked into the moon landing shit. It's one of the things that I start thinking about, because most people they've never watched it, number one. Number two is they don't know that Hollywood owns the rights to the film, and that it had come out later that it was filmed in a studio at the fuck in Hollywood. Like,
Not
there's a lot of
Hollywood.
this-
It was in Nevada. Hollywood
Nevada.
people did it.
Yeah.
Hollywood people did it, but it was in Nevada.
Yeah, whatever it was, yeah. But it's like, how do people not do that? See, and I noticed that whenever I watched the video, and I think maybe Rogan or something had posted it, and that's whenever I watched it, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, hold on, if they're taking off, who's fucking still filming this fucking shit?
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I
they,
mean?
They
It's
had
like,
AI tracking back in the 60s to watch it go up. Like,
In addition to that, there are other scientists that have said that we can't, 40 years after we were supposedly have gone, they're saying we can't go back because of the Van Allen belt. And another one said we can only operate in lower Earth atmosphere. There's a funny movie out there. You should watch it because it plays on this. It's called Fly Me to the Moon.
yeah, it recently just came out. It has Ryan Gosling in it and some.
No, this one has Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I know that, but I thought it was Ryan Gosling.
And no, it's not Ryan. It's the other guy.
Oh, not Brad. What Brad Pitt? Chris Pratt.
No.
Fuck. Who am I talking about?
I don't
what's
know
his
any of
name?
these movie theaters.
I know who you're talking about.
He was in the movie Dear John.
Fly me to the moon.
Tatum.
Tatum? Hang on.
Yeah, what's his name? Channing Tatum.
Oh, yes, that's right. Holy shit. You are right. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you get a kick out of this. So the mission is to create a fake moon landing.
Yeah,
Really?
In case the real one doesn't work out. But then in the movie, they're playing on it and saying, oh, it actually did work out, so we didn't need it. But they're trying to plant the seed that they did do a fake moon landing, but it was only for
propaganda for
situation. Well, it was only if, for example, the mission didn't go through. We would use the
worst
fake
case
one.
scenario. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a joke.
Yeah.
But watch the movie. Go ahead.
So my thought was, and here's been my overall thought process on it, because we were fighting with Russia on who would get there first and all that. To me, it was like our government propaganda machine said, you know what, we need to crush their ambitions and we need to slow them down, and the way we do that is if we can both get into our atmosphere, okay, that's one thing. But no one can figure out how to get further to that than that. I think that our government was like, you know what, let's just say and make this propaganda video showing that we're there, which they may try, but they can't get past. They can't send a monkey past. They can't send a dog. They can't send a mouse. It's going to kill anyone trying to get through the radiation belt. So we'll show that we get there, and then it'll essentially put them into a situation where they're like, oh, well, fuck it, they made it there and we can't figure it out. Let's move on to something else that we're going to work on and be the forefront of. That's how I think that we
on
did
top
that.
of that, like, because technically, if I remember correctly, they beat us to space, like to do the trip around the Earth, but we had to one up them. So that's why I was like, we're going to go to the moon. So that's the reason why, like, we did that, because we didn't beat them just to low Earth orbit. So,
but we tenfolded. We did like a tenfold on what they could even accomplish, where it kind of crushed their ambitions to try
and bankrupt the Soviet Union on top of that.
Well, but there's also something else that happened. Yeah, we had the space race going on, but at the same time, we had the Vietnam War going on.
Oh yeah,
and the Vietnam War, tens of thousands of soldiers and American service members were being killed. We lost over 58,000. So they use this as a propaganda piece to unify the public, to give the American public something good to look at, and to distract. And kind of like we're doing with Artemis right now during the Iran war, which is very unpopular.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's a big reason why Trump came out and said, well, I'm going to release the information on aliens and
UFOs
we're going to
and
put
shit,
it all that. Yeah, like,
because I immediately commented. I was like, cool. Now release all the Epstein files unredacted with, minus the victims. Like, nobody cares, bro. Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, whenever he came out there and said that, I said, oh, fuck, our service members are about to get started get steak and lobster and the D. You know what I mean? Like, we know what's about to happen. We're about to go into a combat situation. We're
good for them though. They got steak and lobster. Because on my first deployment, Outback came while I was out there, and I finally got some good steak and not that fucking trash ass, little, shit that they put on steak Sundays or whatever. I was like, because it was steak and lobster Sundays, even when we were deployed. But it's like, nobody's touching this fucking lobster. We don't know where the hell this shit came from. And the steak the steak was never like actual steak. Yeah. But when Outback came and they were cooking real steak, bro, dude, it was good. And then they left some steaks behind. So for a couple of weeks, we actually had good steaks. Every Sunday. So that was actually really cool.
So Rusty was Air Force and I was Army. That's where, but man, that lobster was like rubber. I don't even think that was real lobster. Like, that might've been a fake ass lobster shell that they shoved some like tofu-y rubbery shit in there. Man, that thing was bad.
It's been sitting there in the boiling water forever, so it's all fucking overcooked and shit. Oh man,
we didn't have them fucking high-speed Navy chefs.
Yeah. So I think it's important that you brought this point up about the aliens and the files and all this talk. I don't think it's a coincidence that Artemis just went up there, that Obama's talking about aliens, Trump's now talking about releasing the files, all this stuff. Almost certainly they are going to use advanced technology to manipulate the masses, as you've seen and heard, right?
And that can kind of connect to the missing scientist. So
Yeah.
Well, it's all related. It's all related.
even though Trump just recently said that I don't think they're connected, there's not showing much of a connection with all these missing scientists. It's like, fuck you. There's clearly a connection because they're all confirmed to be related to the same fucking research. How can you say they're not connected?
Yeah. Well, get this. The fusion scientist from MIT that was killed in his house okay. A critical player, one of many. 3 days after his death, Trump Trump's company invested into a very large fusion company and just so you know, fusion energy is the energy that they think is going to save the problems for the data centers because they have such a large request or requirement for energy.
Yeah.
The only way that they're going to be able to manage it is either through nuclear energy or this fusion type of energy. And so that is a big thing right now. All these data centers that are going up all over the world, they're going to need resources to generate the energy for them. And fusion looks to be the energy they're going to use. And most likely, this fusion technology, guess where it came from?
Alien. Yeah.
No.
I think it. I mean,
almost certainly it came from Nicholas Tesla. Now, Nicholas Tesla.
Oh yes.
Nicholas
Tesla, I know Trump's grandfather is involved in that. Yeah.
Well, and then
Nicholas
all that.
Tesla.
So when he died, they went in and they took all of his data and they classified all of it.
But the FBI went in and took all the information, but then they brought in an MIT professor who happens to be Trump's uncle.
Oh, uncle. Oh, okay.
Trump's uncle, who was an MIT professor.
I thought it was his grandfather, but it was his uncle, yeah.
The chosen Trump bloodline has been managing this technology for 3 generations. Almost, I believe, because it was right after Tesla died and the FBI and Trump's uncle, the professor, got this information, is when we started to see all these top secret programs take place in New Mexico. And then in 1947, the Roswell incident of the UFO came down.
Yeah.
I think that's a false herring. I think that is a distraction. The technology is from Tesla, but they're going to say it's alien. It's out of this world. Okay.
Do you think aliens exist or not? Like, what's your opinion on it?
Well, it depends on how you want to define it. Are there other life forms in the universe? Probably. Are they like we are being told?
Little green men?
Creatures with big eyes and flying saucers. I don't believe that at all. Why is it the only time we see these things, or hear about them, it's usually from the military?
Yeah.
And it's usually a grainy video. How come never in the middle of broad daylight you don't see one?
Yeah.
How come you and I or anybody else? No.
So, Rusty, do you remember the pictures? Okay, so this is this happened about a year ago? Was that whenever I took that picture? Those pictures?
I don't remember, but yeah, sure.
Okay, so I live in a very nice area that it's quiet. It's not much over here. Like it's a really nice area. I was in the backyard one day, and like in my backyard, I've got, my smoker set up, my big TV, fire pit, all that. And I don't remember what I was doing back there. I was hanging out back there. Well, I'm standing there and I was just looking, and all of a sudden a very super bright light shows up in the sky, like a dot, like a weird pin dot, bright light. And I see it, and it all of a sudden appears, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I blink, like I'm like standing there, me and Russ here on the phone, and I was just talking to him, and then I blink, and then all of a sudden it's over here on the other side of the sky. And I'm like, that was fucking weird. And then so I take my phone out and I start snapping pictures, and I snap a picture and I snap another one, and the second picture, and it's like in the camera frame, it's like 2 inches away from the original picture. And like, I'm like, click, 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 click. And then it's gone. And like, and then afterwards I went in and I'm looking at the picture and I zoom it in, and it's the light source is it's like this weird shape. And look, I've seen satellites, I've seen all that. Like, this was not that. I don't, to this day, I don't know what the fuck it was. And was it a UFO? Was it, I don't know.
Well, the thing is like, yeah, it was a UFO because when you just know what the term means, it's just an unidentified flying object. But people need to discern that from, was it an alien spacecraft? You know?
Yeah.
Almost certainly what you saw, I'm not saying you did it, but almost certainly what you saw was technology that we have in our system. And almost certainly we know that Tesla had made some significant gains in fusion energy. And that's partly what's going on right now. You know, there's the belief right now that Tesla was working on a form of energy that was unable to be metered, charged. It was meant to be free. But think about that kind of technology and how much it would destroy a $1 trillion industry.
Yeah.
Think of all your utilities going away.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
if we had good people running the show, it would be a beautiful thing. Why wouldn't we do that?
Yeah.
Right?
Free
But
renewable energy. Yeah.
We don't. Yeah.
And I mean, aside from that, which again would be amazing, I feel that's also why, aside from the, I believe is quite an irrational fear, but I also feel like that's why we haven't invested more in nuclear in this country, because of it being a better and by all standards cleaner form of energy than fossil fuels. And then you have this irrational fear behind it because, you know, people are like, yeah, well, look what happened in fucking, what's the place overseas by Russia?
Chernobyl.
Yeah, Chernobyl. And also, like, it was like, yeah, but you're talking about something that happened a very long time ago in a stupid, like, due to stupidity, versus if you have a new classes of reactors, you know, that are monitored with modern technology. I was like, you don't understand how great nuclear energy would be for this country. But it's such an irrational fear with so much red tape, and it's actually much cleaner. But people don't care to actually understand the facts behind it. So it's like, I also feel like the amount of just value that the oil and gas industry would lose if nuclear became more prominent in this country is also a little bit behind why we haven't invested more in nuclear in this country.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Before we start wrapping up here, I have a very important question for you. You said you were in the Marines for how many years? 30 years? You did the full 30?
28 years.
28 years? Okay. So it's a very important question. I ask all my Marine friends, okay?
Oh, God.
What's your favorite flavor of crayon?
Yep.
Crayon. Yeah. I stopped eating them years ago.
But what was your favorite flavor?
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. You know what's funny is there's actually a site that I found. They put in a little MRE pack, and they made like edible crayons. Like you pull it out, it looks like a crayon, but whatever like that. But it's actually edible or whatever. You know, for Marines or whatever. But it's funny. But dude, fuck, man, there's so many more things I want to pick your brain on. We have to bring you back like more. But Jesus.
Well, what I recommend, if I can, take a look at my last article, read it. And then if you want to go back, for example, we can kind of delve into the article, and that can kind of focus on more timely issues, provide some really interesting points that aren't known or being discussed.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have talked about Charlie, and a lot of people talked about Eric. So I don't know if that's, I think that's maybe a tired subject right now, right? Yeah. But yeah, if you want to read that.
I think the Charlie Kirk is getting a little bit more light now, just because we're getting to that point where Tyler is supposed to be going to court. Like, they're trying to get a continuance right now, but I think that's why it's kind of getting more, because they released the transcript of the request for continuance and stuff like that. I think that's kind of why it's getting a little bit more whatchamacallit, what we're showing here.
Yeah. Read my article on Charlie, and one of the sources who did a ton of work, he did a 28-page dissertation on this. I read the whole thing, but he believes that Charlie and Tyler are cousins.
Holy shit.
Yeah, they're related.
Okay.
They're related. And he goes through this long. Let me see if I can pull it up for you real quick. But he
Wow.
goes through his specialty is lineage. So he looks at family trees and all this. And
Like a distant
according
cousin or something?
maybe not.
God. Wow. Oh, well, okay.
But they're
wow.
all part of the family. And this is what I'm saying. These people are rubbing it in our face. I want to give you the guy's article or the guy's name because it was one of the most interesting pieces of. But if you wanted to talk about, we could delve into one of these articles and just kind of dissect it and go deep. All right, so let me see it. I'm going to tell you the guy's name. His name is Miles Mathis. Miles Mathis, and he has. The article is "The Murder of Charlie Kirk was, of course, staged." If you read this article, he's the first source I connect to, on my page, and then I go deep in another direction. But his article is 28 pages. He goes through the whole family lineage. He goes through the funding. If you're interested in this Charlie Kirk, I would read both my article and then his article that I used as a major source.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah.
But at the end of it, it's going to blow you away. His analysis, Charlie and Tyler are cousins.
No shit.
That's one person. Now this guy is he's not some some wild radical guy. This is a research expert who really focuses on the genealogy. Who's done it for decades. He's a smart guy who's done his diligence, done his homework. But it'll be worth checking out. But have fun with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna look at this. Cool.
Well, thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely. This has been so much fun. Dusty, anything to close with?
I think there's so much stuff. My brain is in 30 million places. We're definitely going to have you on again if you want to come on. And yeah, we're definitely going to go over some more of your articles and they're just look, Rusty, if you look at his Substack, he's got so many damn articles on there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And like going through and having to pick and choose and all that shit, like it's nuts. Like, hey, when are you coming out with a book?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So what I try to focus on is contemporary issues that we're being lied about, the truth on the lies. So it does range multiple areas, but the common denominator is every narrative coming out from our government, Trump and the corporate media is bullshit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But this one might be worthwhile. The one I just pushed out on the missing scientist, because I don't think it's going away. I think it's going to get worse. And I think it's tied to something very significant. And when you read the article, you'll see, I think Trump is behind most all of it, especially with his connections to the fusion industry. And he's a con, right? So he's now, all of a sudden, these fusion scientists get killed and he now takes over a company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's more.
Man, that sounds like fun. But man, thank you so much. Holy
Pleasure.
shit, it has been so much fun. But guys, please like, share, comment, subscribe. We are definitely gonna have the Constitutional Colonel back on again. But I tell you what, this has been eye-opening to say the least.
Hey Larry, go ahead and plug all of your social media and all that right now, and your Substack. It's the Constitutional Colonel, and then what is everything else you're on?
Yeah, well, I've been kicked off X for years, so I haven't been able to get back on. The best way to find me is Constitutional Colonel on Substack, Larry Kaifesh, Constitutional Colonel. I also have a web page, and I'm going to be pushing out hopefully an activity that we can all get together to focus attention on a very important matter. I'm going to be pushing out a short video probably Monday or Tuesday of next week, and I will have that on my website, which is the Constitutional Colonel. But I'll share that. I'll save that for next week because it'll be a surprise. But the best place to reach me is on Substack, because that's where I do all my writing. Of course, I'm on Facebook too, but I just do short posts there.
Yeah.
But thanks for having me, gentlemen, and thank you for your courage and your commitment to truth and transparency. As it's the only thing that's going to set us free.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir. Thank you.
absolutely.
We appreciate you.
All right, brother.
God bless you.
Well, guys, please, like I said, like, comment, share, subscribe, but never forget, text forever, motherfucker.